Let's open the first sheet file A1-Site plan. These are the contents of the model space. Model space is where you insert XREFs, draw and modify all drawing elements. Now let's click this tab to switch to the layout or paper space. The paper space is where you lay out the whole drawing with title blocks and how they should be plotted to scale. The Output tab on the Home menu will enable you to preview how the plot will look like. All white portion on the paper space is the A3 size paper. Change the text according to title, drawing number, sheet number, the contents, and your name. You can recognize the line weights, the line types, and the gray elements to make the print very readable. You can clearly read the dimensions, the property corners, the sidewalks, the roof line, and the building outline, here shown heavier with hidden line type, the setbacks from the property line, the vegetations, and hardscapes. Let's exit this and go back to the model space. This is how you start the sheet file on site plan. Open the BT2 sheet title block from your reference folder. Go to the model space. Set the active layer to XREF, and on Insert, click Attach, then select your floor plan. Make sure all checkboxes are not checked. Path type shall be relative, and the reference type shall be attachment. Now you can see the XREF. The position of the XREF on your drawing may be different depending on where you started your drawing. If it appears to be too far from the sheet guides, do not move your floor plan XREF. Now, we will erase items that we do not need for the site development drawing. Knowing that the final plot will be on a larger scale than 1:100, all other drawings from the model will not be needed. I'm going to change this into 1:200 to remind me of the plot scale. Now, I'm going to freeze layers from the XREF that are not necessary to be displayed on the site plan. Freeze the furniture, fixtures, slab depressions, the built-in, doors, walls, windows, and columns. You can still see the layer listing on the side of the floor plan. We will now do an X clip by typing XC. Click on the XREF, then New Boundary, Rectangular, then create a boundary showing only the extents of the plan. Now the layer listing is not displayed. I forgot to freeze the section cutting plane. We don't need that. Now, set your active layer to 0 and lock layer XREF. You will notice that the XREF display faded. That is okay. Locking a layer prevents it from being erased, moved, or modified. If you don't want to see the clip boundary, type XClip frame, then change the value to 0. I will now start drawing. Property lines are set back at a minimum of 2 meters. I will draw X lines horizontally and vertically along the building outline, not on the roof line, and start offsetting 2 meters from the north and west sides. Then I will erase the initial X lines. Continue setback on the east side. Then I will trim the excess lines to create the lot boundaries. Now I will place circles to represent the corners. This time, go to paper space, erase all the instructions on both sides of the paper space. Type viewports. Select single or type S. Then create a boundary inside the margins of the title block. Double-click inside the viewport, then move your drawing towards the center of the viewport. Then click here to set up the viewport scale and select 1:200. Click outside the viewport to return to paper space. Then save your drawing as A1-Site plan, your name, on the Sheets folder. If you are prompted to update relative paths, click it. When you click the side of the viewport, you can see the scale setting at the bottom right side. Then you have to lock the display to prevent you from making a mistake while working on paper space. At this point, create new layers, namely Property, Road, Dim or Dimension, Text, Vegetation, Hardscape, North Arrow, according to the table shown. Property lines and circles shall belong to layer Property. You will notice that I have changed the color of the circles into color 2 or yellow. The intent is to show heavier line weight on the corners of the property. Then you create the roads surrounding the property. Roads will be on a new layer, Road. Because we will be plotting on 1:200, on Annotate, select Dim 200 for dimension and 200 for text settings. I used 8 meters as the road width. I also allowed 1500 sidewalk width. On layer text, I labeled spaces and important lines to provide clear information. On layer dim, dimensions are placed on important information such as setbacks, property corners, distance to building outline to property line. The setbacks are the most important dimensions. Hardscapes shall include exterior pavings, fence, and gates. North arrow should be on layer North Arrow. And finally, the vegetation inside the property. Adjust your text dimensions accordingly so that they can be clearly read. Now, switch to paper space and preview the plot.